I'm back. This is my third video. I hiked the Appalachian Trail in 2023, through hiked. I started February 27th and finished July 30th. And I just wanted to go over the gear that I used during my hike. I started with a video of the gear that I ended with, and then I did a second video of the gear that I started with that I liked, but I didn't keep using it because the weather changed or there was some replacement that I needed, that sort of thing. So I might have replaced it with something, but it was still, good gear that I would take again with me. This last video is going to be gear that I would not recommend. It didn't work for me. I ended up sending it home or just fought with it maybe until I finally got rid of it. But I definitely didn't end up with it at the end of my hike, and I just didn't feel like it was the right gear for what I was doing. So let me turn around and I'll go through that. Okay. So the first thing were these heavy rain pants, and I showed you the Frog Tog rain pants. That's all you need. You don't need heavy. You're not wearing rain pants very often, and you just don't need a heavy pair of rain pants. So I wouldn't recommend those. I also, these are, they're plastic gloves that you wear in the shower to protect a cast. And because I started off with a poncho, I didn't have anything keeping rain off my, forearm and hands, and I noticed they were getting wet. And so I bought these to use to cover that, but they just really didn't work. What I would probably do in the future is just try to find something that would cover my hands, like some kind of raincoat extension or something like that. I don't know. I'm still working on what it might be, but these probably weren't the right answer. Then I brought leather gloves because I thought, man, these will be great if we're going to be building fires and breaking wood and moving hot pots around, and you just don't do any of that on the Appalachian Trail. We never built a fire. We were around when 2 fires were being built, but they were always being built by somebody else. And these are just fairly heavy. They got very poor warmth retention. Matter of fact, I almost feel like when I put them on, it would, with my glove liners, it would compress the glove liners, what actually made my hands feel colder. So, and I treated these so they're waterproof. They are waterproof, but definitely, I think this would work great for a really active, like I'm going to build fires and, build things out of wood and, bushcraft type stuff, but Appalachian Trail, not so much. Then I had a bunch of electronics. I started off, and I didn't show you in the other one, but I started off with this, rechargeable trimmer that I was going to use, and I did. I used it, and it worked really good, but it was just an extra thing I had to charge. It wasn't that light, and I finally just switched to, regular disposable straight razor blade, and I used that and just soap. But anyway, that was that, and then I had this because I was worried I'd need some extra ability to charge with a plug. But I ended up not using that, and these are just attachments there. I had my attachment for my phone so I could use a corded earbuds, but I ended up always using my cordless, so I just decided to send that back. I broke my clip on my backpack, and this was a replacement, but the clip would work. I just was worried it would finally break, and it never did, so I never put this on. And then I had a can opener because I thought, wow, that'd be handy, because you don't want to be caught out there with somebody bringing baked beans and you can't open the can, but that never happened. So I ended up sending that back home. So that's that. So I ended up somewhere along the way sending all that home. Then I started with this, really nice smartwatch that has GPS and tracking and just all that. And to be fair, I didn't do a great job of understanding how all the capabilities of the watch were before. I just didn't have much time to get comfortable with it. I went on the trail with it, and I made it halfway with it, but it just had too many features and too much stuff. All I wanted was just to be able to look at my wrist and see what time it was, and and a timer. That was it. Like I said, I had my phone for GPS. I had my inReach for GPS if I needed it. And this was just overkill that just didn't work. So I ended up with my just regular old standard Ironman watch, which I've worn for 30 years and, works great for me and I understand it. And sending this one home. So I didn't have to continue, I have to charge this. The other one I don't have to. But I tell you, it's really nice to have a watch. Even if you're not used to a watch, I would recommend hiking with a watch, because if you're always having to get your phone out, it's kind of a pain. And if you know what time it is, you can kind of know where you are on the trail because you know about how fast you're moving. And so it's a very quick way, instead of having to pull your phone out and either look at the time or look at the map and see where you are and how far you've gone, or how far how much further you need to go to hit your target. So I would definitely, a watch for me worked really good. This was actually my tent sack, but I brought it along because I was worried that I would want to store my trekking poles a lot and they'd have mud and stuff on them, and I didn't want that getting all over my pack and inside my wherever I was going to put it. So I brought this, but I ended up never using it. I literally on the trail, I literally packed my poles, I think twice. Once to cross a river, and once because we were boulder hopping and it was so intense that I needed my hands, and I just put my poles away. But all the other time I didn't, and this just definitely wasn't needed, so I just didn't need to bring that. My cup, this kind of hurt me to leave behind, because I always thought, if I'm going to drink any hot liquids or anything like that, but in the end I just didn't need it. We were cold soaking, and out of a plastic jar, and I just didn't need this. It's just weight, and I'm glad I sent it home. And I don't think if I went again, I don't think I'd take this. Same thing with this extra cup. I had this foldable cup because I was like, well, if I'm going to eat food, I want to be able to drink. But in the end, I didn't make any mixed drinks. I did add the electrolyte mixes to my water, but I just did that straight in the bottle. And so I just didn't need that on the trail either, and it's heavy, so just leave it behind. Soap, oh man, I wished I'd used the soap more. I mean, you just don't have the energy. You just don't care enough. You're just so tired that you're not going to go wash your dishes or wash your hands with soap. I mean, I did wash my hands a lot, but I just used water. Of course, if I was somewhere where soap was available, I would, but it just wasn't worth carrying soap because you never reached for the soap. You just always, rinsed it with water, and that was good enough. So don't need soap. I took this, two things. One, it was a backup stake in case I broke a stake, but I thought, well, I can just take a stick and make that be a temporary stake if I need one. And then as a trowel, because I could dig a cat hole with it. And half the time I'd forget it, and I'd be out doing my business and realize I didn't have it, so I'd have to dig a hole with a stick or a rock or something like that. And then it turned out that really probably the whole Appalachian Trail, I probably only had to dig a cat hole maybe 6 times. I mean, I just seemed to be able to make it to privies and handle my business that way. So this just wasn't something that I needed, and so I just left it behind. This is my 10,000 milliamp. It's got the Leuco tape wrapped around it, and this is super light. It works great. The problem is it's 10,000, and that's just not for a 4-day trip out where you're using your phone all day. Even if you have an airplane mode with my phone, you still, on the last day, you'd be out of battery. So the 20 amp was a little too, if they made one that was 15, that would be perfect. The 20 amp was definitely enough. The 10 was just almost enough, but not quite. And then this is my heavier bear bag line. And like I said, you just don't need this. This was the slick cord that came with it when you bought the Z-Pack bear bag hanging kit, and it came with this heavy one. When you buy it now, it comes with the smaller. So sometime between when I got this and when they, came up with how, the improvement with the slicker line. But it's just you get a lot more line, a lot less area. It's plenty strong enough to do everything you need to do. And so this just wasn't necessary. You don't need this heavy of a line. And then lastly is this polyester shirt. Now I love these shirts, but they just do not work if you're going to sweat in them all day and try and make it 3 or 4 days without washing them. These shirts to me are awesome, but they're all polyester. And about week 2, I started just feeling like I smelled. I could smell myself. It was just really gross. And I thought it was my pack. I thought it was all different, my rain jacket. I thought it was all this stuff. And it turned out it was just my shirt. This shirt, the wool, like I said, the wool has some kind of magic that keeps it from smelling. These shirts are anti-magic. They stink, and they stink awful. And so you just got to avoid. You got to avoid polyester for hiking shirts, because you won't be able to stand it, the smell of yourself, and probably everybody around you will not like it either, even though they won't smell as bad as you if you've got a polyester shirt on. So just say no to that. If I was going to do it again, I do like this, this light. Like I said, this isn't the shirt, because I ended up throwing away the shirt that I actually did. It was actually like a rose-colored shirt. But when it started getting hot, I ended up taking my scissors from my micro Leatherman and cutting the sleeves off, and I liked it better as a short sleeve shirt. But regardless, it smelled too bad. So love these shirts, but they're not right for Appalachian Trail thru hike. Okay, that is everything. That's the gear that I ended with, the gear that I thought was good that I started with, but then switched out, and the gear that I took that I just didn't feel like was adequate or was good gear for Appalachian Trail thru hike. So I hope you enjoyed that. I hope it helps somebody someday try and figure out what works best for them. That's what worked for me and my opinions on it. So hope everybody has a great thru hike if they attempt it. Mine was a great experience, and I really glad I did it, but I'm probably done thru hiking from here on out. So, all right, that's all I've got. Thanks. Bye.